What'd you do this week? I didn't talk to you. You were very busy.
So my wife's been having some hip pains, and um, so she went to a local orthopedic guy here, and they did an MRI, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with the ball, but I don't even know if I kept to the dike, like what they're going to check for. Let me see if she's in here.
You gonna show us the X-ray?
No, it was
No, the MRI.
it's some kind of a disorder where the top of your femur stops getting blood. So
Wow.
um, the first thing they do is like they go in. It's a minimal procedure, and they just drill some holes into the top of the femur, and they get blood through it that way. The other thing, eventually, if it gets bad enough, they just do a hip replacement.
Ugh.
So, which is fucking nothing. I mean,
A hip? Yeah. I
fuck
know
hip.
it's supposed to work. Anyone
No,
who's
I
had
mean
it that I talked
a
to
hip.
says
A hip is no. I mean, it's a dance compared to the knee
uh,
because they go in through the front now. They used to go through the glute
right.
and cut through all that tissue. Now they go in through the front. Scott was up and around in no time,
Right.
and
Did they
so
did they did they go through his ass or through the front? They had already had the front.
they had the front gimmick.
Okay.
So we go to this. The guy gives us this specialist. So and we got 11 o'clock appointment, so we drove over Wednesday night and stayed in a hotel, and so we wouldn't have to fucking. It would be impossible to make that 2.5 hour drive. You know,
9 a.m. 95 or I
no,
four actually
it's I
four.
four.
Yeah.
It's I-4 to 75. So we went over the night before, and got up and drove over, and it's through this really like a nice area, beautifully landscaped, windy road, little man-made lake, and I can see this Spanish, Mediterranean, I guess it would be, style, big ass building, and attached to it is through this. It almost looks like Sanford University, like this tiled walkways and all this shit. And I see this big surgery center. I said, "Oh fuck," So immediately I'm thinking like, and now all I see is old people in wheelchairs everywhere. So it looks like a VA, almost like a VA place. So we go in and there's it's the doctor's situation is it's set up kind of like an H. So you go to one of the, A, B, C, or D, and her doctor's A. So we go up this hallway, turn the corner, and in the waiting room, it looks like everybody that was supposed to pick up like somebody at a senior home and take them someplace that day just picked them up and
For,
dropped them off. It was like all, and I'm like,
well, orthopedists. It's probably every orthopedist office is a
not
little like that. Right?
mine.
No.
I got an orthopedic.
When you go to a sports guy.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
So immediately I'm thinking like, okay, so this guy is supposed to be like the guy, but like to me, I always tell this to people that tell me they say, yeah, I've got to get a surgery and I'm looking for an orthopedic guy, and I know you've had a lot of operations. What should I look for? And I always tell them, you should look for somebody who's got clients that are going to be paid $50 million whether
a
or
layup.
not, whether or not they, if you don't get them healthy, they're going to get the money anyway. So you probably want somebody that's job is to get people back on the court or back on the field, you know, even if it's a pro bowlers tour, like, you know. And I said, but to butcher somebody that's already crippled in a wheelchair, like, what's the upside? How do you know that they've got any success?
Mm.
They're 80. Like, what they're gonna start squatting, and all of a sudden, yeah, my hip feels great. So I just, like, we sat there, and they said, oh, we're running about an hour and a half behind.
Whoa.
And Tamara says, I've got to use the restroom. And I can just see the look on her face. Meantime, I call my orthopedic surgeon. So I'm like, why the fuck didn't we just call Brad, you know? So my Dr. Holman's my surgeon. And it's like, I text him, and he didn't get right back to me, but I said he will. I don't know why, you know. I'm just thinking because she went. I was gone on the road when she, like, did this process, so I'm thinking, like, this is like the guy that does this procedure, and that's why she's there. Not just it's some fucking, you know, shithole that, you know, just takes anybody. So she comes around the corner, and I've got, and she had put her purse and her, like, a little hoodie on her chair when she went to go to the restroom. And I'm standing in the hallway with her purse and her hoodie. She goes, "What are we doing?" I said, "All right, I got your MRI back from the nurse." I said, "I canceled your appointment. She's not charging us." And I said, "We're gonna go home." She looked at me like, she said, "Seriously?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "I contacted Brad." I said, "You're gonna go see him." I said, "We're not doing this." As we're leaving, now we walk all the way back up this hallway. So we're leaving. This lady walks in with her husband. She's in a wheelchair, and she says to the receptionist, "I'm back again." I'm thinking, yeah, exactly. Could you imagine fucking 10 trips like this? Like, fuck. Like,
Yeah, but you would have made that doctor's day. He's got to go through all those altacacas all day, and then, no disrespect, and Tamara walks in. He gets to inspect her hip for a little while.
Yeah.
I mean, he lost the lottery ticket that day.
Yeah, but
God
he
damn it.
would have a hard time looking at her hip if I had one of my balls in each one of his eye sockets.
That's now
So,
called the Wesley, by the way. It's officially been renamed.
so
So that was so you literally left there and you went to see Dr.
no, we
Holman.
fucking went home.
So when she's seeing
She's she went home. She FedExed her MRI to Doc today, so I'm sure it'll be probably, you know, next week.
good God, that's the Nash, by the way. That's called when something's not working. Like, you know, what did we get in advertising this month? Get on the phone. Sirius XM front desk, please. Yeah.
No,
Holding my hoodie in the hallway all the time.
I like I tell, if you don't fucking bitch, you don't get shit done in life.
What if Dr. Holman, is it Holman?
Yes, Holman.
Holman. Who was Rodney Holman? I'm thinking Cincinnati Bengals, right? Rodney Holman. All right. Anyway,
I think he was on that Superfan fucking piece.
Right. I want to talk about that eventually too.
Again.
But what if you have to wait? What, I talked about that already. What if you have to wait a month for this guy?
Her hip ain't going nowhere.
Oh, pain. Tight end, Cincinnati Bengals, 1982, 1992.
She's tough.
Holman, by the way. All right. Well, I hope she does better. Well, you know what? It was a night away. Look at it that way, right? It wasn't wasted time. It was a night away in
well,
Central Florida.
We found an Italian restaurant. Had a nice bottle of wine.
You should have hit up Bull and Bear. You were down there. Guys,
We went to the cock and balls.
this week,